Amanda had built a small lab in a compound in town. Their babies were used to make a thick paste. She had machines, chemicals, and herbs. She mixed everything with skill and pressed the paste into green-colored tablets. She called them forever tablets. They were packed in shiny bottles and kept in boxes. Those who took it looked 20 years younger, and nobody would ever guess how she got the magic inside those pills. Once upon a time, on a fateful day in the town of Enugu, the air in Enugu that afternoon was hot and dusty. The sun had dried up the earth, leaving behind small clouds of brown powder that danced with every step. Chickens clucked as they crossed the road. At a small corner of Amuchu Street, a faded red taxi came to a slow stop in front of a semi-modern house. From the back seat of the taxi, a tall woman stepped out slowly. She wore oversized dark sunglasses that hid most of her face, a dull brown scarf wrapped tightly around her head, and a long-sleeved coat that reached her ankles. Her skin, once bright and full of life, looked pale under the layers of powder she had packed on. It was Amanda, the girl from the village who had once been their pride, the daughter of Papa Chibuzo, the nurse who had made it to America. Now, she had returned. People peeked from their windows. Amanda said nothing. She held her small brown suitcase and walked toward the bungalow slowly. The gate creaked as she pushed it open. Ah, Amanda. It was her younger brother, Nonso, who came running out barefooted. Sister, you're back. We didn't know. Nobody told us. Amanda gave him a weak smile and touched his cheek. Yes, Nonso, I'm back. Inside the house, the sitting room was warm and quiet. The ceiling fan creaked as it turned. On the wall was a faded photo of Amanda in her white medical coat, taken the day she left for America. Her mother, Mama Grace, came out from the kitchen, wiping her hands with a towel. When she saw Amanda, her eyes widened. Amanda, she said, her voice filled with both shock and joy. You're back. Yes, Mama. Amanda dropped her suitcase, and Mama Grace hugged her tightly, but soon pulled away to look at her properly. Why didn't you tell us? What happened? Why didn't you at least give us a phone call? We thought you were still working in that big hospital. Amanda looked down. It's a long story, Mama. I came back because things didn't work out. Mama Grace sat down slowly, her hands trembling. Her eyes searched Amanda's face for the truth. Did they deport you? Amanda nodded slowly. Papa Chibuzo came in moments later, a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had heard the noise and was hoping it was a misunderstanding. When he saw Amanda, he froze. Is this a ghost I'm seeing? Amanda, she stood up. Papa, I'm back. He looked at her for a long time, then sat down. Young woman, what happened? Do you know what we went through to send you there? Do you know how many goats I sold? How I begged your uncle to loan us money? Amanda nodded slowly. I know, Papa. I know. Then what are you doing here? You promised to help this family. You promised to build us a better house, to open your own clinic. And now you are back like a thief in the night. Amanda wiped her face and took a deep breath. I'm sorry. I failed, but I didn't come back empty-handed. I have plans. Plans. Papa Chibuzo laughed bitterly. What plans? I want to open a pharmacy. A real one. I have knowledge, Papa. I studied medicine. I worked in many places in the U.S. I know how to make treatments. I just need support. Mama Grace leaned forward. You have money? I have some. Not much, but I can start small. I want to build something great. Trust me. Nonso sat in the corner, listening. He looked from Amanda to his parents. But what happened in America? He asked. Why did they send you away? Amanda sighed. There was a mistake at work. A big mistake. They said I gave a wrong prescription. Someone got hurt. I was blamed. I lost my license. Then immigration got involved. They said I overstayed my visa. They sent me back. Silence filled the room. Mama Grace covered her mouth. Oh my God. Papa stood up and paced. We told you to be careful. We warned you not to mix with wrong people. I know. I'm sorry. But I won't waste this chance. I know things now. Things that can help us. What things? Medicine. Special treatments. Anti-aging formulas. I studied them. I have recipes. I want to start a factory. A pharmacy. People are growing old, Papa. They're afraid. I want to give them something that will make them feel young again. Papa Chibuzo stopped. Anti-aging. Yes. Nonso raised his hand like a student. So people will take your medicine and become young? Amanda laughed a little. Not become children, but they will feel stronger. Look fresher, more energy, more beauty. It's a big business now, even in Nigeria. Papa Chibuzo shook his head and sat back down. His heart was still heavy, but something in Amanda's voice gave him hope. You have one last chance, he said. We will help you, but don't disgrace us again. Amanda nodded. I won't, Papa. I swear. As the evening sun set over the quiet village, Amanda stood at the window thinking. Behind her glasses, her eyes gleamed with evil ambition. She thinks of how she will steal babies and how she will process the innocent into anti-aging pills. So she thought it wise to look for a job in a hospital that she will have access to many babies and also raise money to buy the equipment that she needs. And so she applied for a job at Nuka Hospital. Nuka Hospital was one of the busiest in Enugu, a public hospital often overwhelmed with mothers in labor, wailing babies, and nurses running up and down the corridors. Amanda quickly got a job there. Her American degree impressed the director, and her soft-spoken humility fooled her colleagues. She walked with gentle steps. She spoke calmly. She always offered to help. She cleaned even when it wasn't her shift. She stayed late. She brought small gifts for other nurses. She memorized patients' names. Within just 6 months, everyone at Nuka thought she was an angel. Nurse Amanda, said Matron Ojeki, you're truly a blessing. You're always gentle with the babies. Amanda would only smile and nod. She worked in a maternity ward most times. That was her plan. She said it was her passion. She bathed babies. She fed them. She carried them up and down, singing lullabies. Mothers loved her. Doctors praised her. Such precision, said Dr. Namdi. She's well trained. No wonder. America trained nurse. Amanda never made a mistake. Not even once. She followed every rule. Because she knew trust was her biggest weapon. But while others thought she was feeding or weighing newborns, Amanda was marking targets. She had her eyes on certain mothers, those who looked too poor to ask questions or had no known relatives. By her 7th month at Nuka Hospital, Amanda knew everything about the place. She knew when the cleaners came in. She knew when the security guards left their posts to go and eat in the kitchen. She knew which CCTV cameras didn't work. She knew which delivery beds creaked and which ones didn't. Amanda had made herself invisible while becoming everyone's favorite nurse. And because of that, she was trusted with everything. She often stayed late at night, volunteering for the overnight shift. The other nurses were happy to go home and rest. But Amanda didn't mind. That was her plan. The night was quiet. The hallways were dark. And that was when her work began. She had watched closely and learned something important. The hospital didn't have enough guards at night. Only one guard stood at the front gate, and the back gate was often open for deliveries. The CCTV behind the maternity ward hadn't worked in months. Nobody fixed it. She saw that nobody counted the babies properly. Once they were born and placed in the baby room, they were fed and tagged, but the system was weak. Sometimes mothers share the same name. Files were often misplaced. That was the loophole. Amanda began to test her plan slowly. She started with simple things, changing small notes in the files, switching name tags on baby cots, and checking how quickly anyone would notice. No one did. One night, she sat quietly in the nurse's room, her phone in hand. The room was dim. The only sound was the humming of the fridge. She scrolled through her phone and opened a contact named Laundry. It was a code name. She typed slowly, "It's ready." Then she walked back into the ward with her best smile. She picked up the baby. He was small, newly born, with soft black curls on his head. The mother was sleeping. She was a teenage girl who had come alone, saying she didn't know where the father was. Her aunt hadn't shown up. Amanda had seen this type before. No one would ask too many questions. She wrapped the baby tightly in a white blanket and walked toward the back of the hospital. The back gate was quiet. The light there had been broken for 2 months. Nobody ever fixed it. Just as she reached the gate, a black van rolled in slowly, its lights off. A tall man stepped out. His face was covered with a cap and scarf. No words were said. Amanda handed him the bundle. He nodded and slipped back into the van. The vehicle rolled away slowly, swallowed by the darkness. Amanda turned around, walked back inside, and just before entering the ward again, She paused and let out a loud cry. "Where is baby B?" she shouted. "He was right here. Somebody check. Check quickly." Nurses came running. "Did the mother carry him away?" one asked. "No, she's still sleeping." "Oh God, how did this happen?" Amanda pretended to shake. She placed her hands on her head and began to pace. She even cried. Doctors were called. The mother was woken up. Confusion filled the room. Amanda knelt beside the mother and held her hand. "I'm so sorry. We're doing everything to find him." The girl began to cry. Amanda cried with her. The next morning, the hospital blamed it on an outsider. They said someone must have sneaked in. Posters were made. Police were informed. But no one suspected Amanda. She had been the one to raise the alarm. She had been the first to cry. She had been the one to console. From that day on, Amanda became even more trusted. Poor woman, they said. She was so heartbroken about the missing baby. But Amanda? Amanda had gone home that morning and taken a long, warm bath. She put on her favorite perfume, then sat at her table and wrote in her notebook, "Batch 1, success." She smiled and closed the book. Week after week, Amanda repeated her plan. Each time, she found the right baby, one that would not be missed. She studied the mothers carefully. If a mother was too watchful or had family staying with her, Amanda would wait. She only chose babies whose disappearance would raise the least alarm. Sometimes, she would go to the ward early and pretend to take the baby for a checkup. "I just want to weigh her," she would say with a smile. No one ever said no. After all, it was Nurse Amanda. By the time the staff noticed the baby missing, Amanda had already made the call. "It's ready." And like magic, the van would appear. The driver never spoke. The men inside never showed their faces. But she paid them well. She had built a small lab in a compound in town. There, her real work began. The babies were used to make a thick paste. She had machines, chemicals, and herbs. She mixed everything with skill and pressed the paste into green-colored tablets. She called them forever tablets. They were packed in shiny bottles and kept in boxes. Soon, she would open a pharmacy. But first, she had to build the supply. She had spoken to a friend who promised to help her register the company. But she told no one, not even her family, because when her pharmacy would open, it wouldn't just be another shop. It would be the most powerful place in the city. And nobody would ever guess how she got the magic inside those pills. Nobody. Amanda had money now. The money from the pills she made with the babies kept flowing, and Amanda knew it was time to expand. So she looked for a property, not too far from town, but not too close either. She found an old, quiet bungalow at the end of a lonely road in Succa. It was surrounded by tall trees. There was a broken gate and cracked walls, but Amanda saw something more. "This is perfect," she whispered. She repaired the house. She painted it white. She fixed the roof, added an iron door, and replaced the broken windows with tinted glass. From the outside, it looked like a peaceful health center, a small lab, or a herbal clinic. She registered it officially as Nwachukwu Natural Labs, claiming it was a wellness retreat for advanced herbal healing. No one suspected a thing. But inside, it was a house of horrors. The floors were tiled and white. The walls were shiny and clean. But the air smelled of iron and strange roots. The main room was cold, always cold, and in the middle stood a giant black mortar. Not an ordinary mortar, but one made from volcanic rock. Amanda had it imported. Beside it were automated grinders, machines that looked like blenders but stronger. There were shelves of chemicals, dried leaves, glass jars, and cutting tools. The light bulbs above made everything look like a real science lab. Amanda did not work alone. She hired 3 people. One ex-pharmacist who had lost his license for mixing drugs illegally. One herbalist who had worked in the black market in Ghana. One former mortician who had once prepared bodies in a private morgue, but was fired for strange behavior. Amanda paid them well, but they were never allowed to ask questions. They worked in silence. They followed instructions. The babies were delivered at night. Each time the black van arrived, Amanda would carry the bundle into the back room. The others never saw what was inside. Only Amanda opened the wrappings. She wore gloves. She tied her scarf. She locked the door. And then, the dark work began. First, she placed the baby on a small silver table. She lit candles around the room. Not for light, but for spiritual silence. She whispered in a language no one understood. Then, she placed special herbs and roots on the side. Dried snail shells, ground placenta, charcoal from ancient trees, and flower oil. She turned on the grinder. It made a loud humming sound. Then she carefully added the soft flesh with the herbs. The machine spun fast. The mixture turned into a thick brown paste. The smell was strange, like burnt sugar and blood. When the paste was thick enough, Amanda scooped it into a bowl. She added drops of pearl dust and stem cell enhancers she had smuggled from the US. These ingredients were rare. They made the skin glow and slowed down aging. She stirred it slowly with a long silver spoon until it shimmered. Then came the pressing. She poured the paste into a flat steel mold that shaped it into small circles. Each one was carefully dried in a heated box for 3 hours. When done, they came out as emerald green pills, smooth, shiny, and magical. Amanda looked at them like treasures. She placed them into golden jars. Each jar had a label printed in stylish cursive. Eternaglow. Rewind time looked 20 years younger in just 2 weeks. The jars were stacked in cabinets, row after row. She kept records in a red notebook. How many pills were made, from what batch, and who they would be sold to. The house had 2 sides. One side looked like a clean, smiling clinic where herbs were mixed. The other side, the back rooms, were locked always. Only Amanda had the key. She always locked the door when she worked. People came in because the place looked rich, but they stayed because of the product. Amanda placed a big poster outside. Now available. Eternaglow anti-aging capsules. Feel young. Look young. Stay young. Inside the shop, the golden jars were placed on shiny glass shelves. Each jar cost as much as a small motorbike, but people still bought it. Women came from far. Old men who couldn't walk properly came with drivers. A woman from Lagos said, "After taking just 5 pills, my face was smooth. My husband asked if I did surgery." Another woman shouted, "I can dance again. My knees don't hurt." Amanda smiled and nodded. She never said much. She just pointed at the label. Rewind time. Business boomed. Soon, she had customers from Abuja, Ghana, and even South Africa. Celebrities called her phone. Politicians' wives came in the night. Everyone wanted the magic pill. They didn't care what was inside. They just wanted to look young. Amanda became the richest woman in Enugu. She bought a mansion in Independence Layout. She drove a silver Lexus. Her clothes were always clean, always smooth. Her skin glowed. Her parents and sibling were proud of her, but were unaware of the evil that she does to get this rich. People called her Madame Glow, but behind that smile was a cold heart. Every pill was made from soul. Every jar held the secret of a mother's tears. And yet, nobody asked questions, because the pills worked. They worked better than anything ever seen. Amanda had done the unthinkable. She had turned innocence into wealth, and not a single person suspected her. Within days, the buzz began to grow. People talked in markets, churches, schools, beauty salons. "Have you seen Madame Beatrice lately? Her skin is like glass." Chief Damien walks like a 30-year-old now. That Nollywood actress? She took just 2 capsules and looks 25 again. The line outside the Glow Lounge stretched down the road. People came with fans and umbrellas. Some even camped overnight. Amanda began to take orders by appointment only. Each customer filled a form, waited for their name to be called, and then entered the VIP lounge for consultation. "I just want to feel young again," said one senator's wife. "I want my skin to shine on my wedding anniversary," said another woman. Amanda would smile gently and say, "You are in the right place." The pills were not cheap. One bottle cost more than a worker's monthly salary. But people didn't care. They brought cash. They brought gold. Some paid in dollars. Amanda hired security guards to control the crowd. She hired a manager to handle bookings. She even brought in a private doctor to answer questions from clients. Soon, her pharmacy was on every social media page. Influencers made videos. Day 1 of taking Eternaglow. "See how my face changed in 5 days." The videos went viral. TV stations came to interview Amanda. "Madame Glow," the presenter said, "how did you create such a miracle product?" Amanda smiled softly. "Nature is full of secrets. I just found the right ones." No one asked more. Everyone wanted the glow, the secret, the youth. Amanda opened another branch in Abuja, then one in Accra, then one in Nairobi. She flew on private jets. Her face was on magazine covers. The woman who turned time back. Nigeria's queen of beauty. She was invited to luxury events. Rich men asked to marry her. Women begged to be her friends. But Amanda stayed quiet, calm, always watching, always listening. She knew how fragile her secret was. She trusted no one, not even her closest staff. What shocked many people was that despite her influence and riches, she still worked as a nurse at Nuka Hospital. People wondered. And when she was asked why, she would tell them that it is out of passion, nothing more. In private, she still ran the factory. The baby still came. The paste was still made. The pills still rolled off the press, green and glowing. One night, while counting her earnings, Amanda looked at her safe, stacked with bundles of money. She whispered, "They want youth. I give them youth." And she smiled. But not everyone was smiling. A small group of nurses at Nuka Hospital had started talking. Why are babies going missing only during Amanda's shifts? She's always the one to raise alarm. But they had no proof. Amanda was careful, very careful. She had made herself a hero in town, a beauty queen, a health expert. Even the police called her Madam Doctor. Who would ever believe she was a monster? Certainly not her customers. One old man who used to walk with a cane now danced at parties. One widow who looked 60 now had a boyfriend half her age. No one wanted to stop the glow. She had become a goddess in a world of wrinkles, and no one dared question her throne. But on a faithful Thursday night, rain fell lightly. The air smelled of wet sand. Nuka Hospital was calm. Nurses walked slowly through the halls. Babies cried in soft whimpers. Lights flickered above the maternity ward. Amanda had just finished her rounds. She looked peaceful as usual. She smiled at the mothers. She held their babies. She wore her white gloves and sang sweet lullabies. But inside, she was ready. She had chosen a baby earlier that evening. A boy, small and quiet. The mother had just delivered him that afternoon. Amanda waited until most of the staff were busy. Then she gently picked up the baby, wrapped him in a blue cloth, and placed him in a small hospital trolley. She wheeled him toward the back door. But tonight was different. The baby's mother, Ngozi, was not asleep. She was a young widow from Ebonyi. Her husband had died in a car crash while she was still pregnant. Ngozi was in pain, but could not sleep. Her heart felt heavy. She had seen how Amanda looked at her baby. There was something strange about her eyes, something cold. So when Amanda left with her child, Ngozi followed. She dragged herself off the bed, held the wall for support, and limped after Amanda quietly. From behind a curtain, she watched. She saw Amanda open the back door. A tall man in a dark hoodie stood there. Amanda passed the baby to him like a secret package. Ngozi screamed, "Hey, thief, give me my baby." The scream was loud, sharp. It tore through the quiet night. Nurses came running. Doctors followed. Security guards rushed toward the back gate. The man in the hoodie panicked. He ran, but he slipped on the wet floor outside. Guards jumped on him and held him down. Amanda froze. Her hands shook. Her face went pale. She stood like a statue, unable to move. Ngozi ran and grabbed her child from the ground. She held him tight and collapsed, crying, "My baby! My baby!" Everyone stared at Amanda. Someone whispered. It was her, Nurse Amanda. Before she could speak, the head of security grabbed her wrist. "You're under arrest." Amanda said nothing, and taken to the police station. Amanda sat in the cold interrogation room. The walls were gray. The chair was metal. A small table stood between her and the two officers. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat, her eyes fixed on the floor. For hours, they asked questions. She kept quiet, but then they placed the evidence in front of her. Hospital records with her name on all missing baby cases. Phone logs showing repeated messages to a number saved as laundry. Amanda blinked slowly. Then she spoke. Her voice was soft. "I did it. Yes." The room fell silent. "I gave them what they wanted. Youth, beauty, power. They paid me to do it." She looked up at the officers. People don't care what's inside the pill. They only care about the glow. She confessed to everything. The babies, The secret lab, the herbal mixtures, the grinding, the pills, the golden jars, the glow lounge. She told them names, buyers, helpers, even the van driver. The officers sat in shock. Do you know how many families are crying because of you? One said. Amanda didn't blink. News spread fast. The country shook. The newspaper screamed. Beauty queen nurse arrested for baby turning horror. Nurse Amanda's pharmacy of evil exposed. At home, Amanda's family sat in shock. Mama Grace fainted when she saw her daughter's face on TV. No, this is not my Amanda, she cried. Papa Chibuzzo sat on the floor, his head in his hands. We sold our land for her. We believed in her. We told everyone she was the best. Nonso, her younger brother, wept in silence. Neighbors gathered outside their gate. Some shouted. Some threw stones. Some just watched. She brought shame to this town, they said. Customers who had taken the pills began to panic. A woman from Abuja screamed on live TV. I took that pill. I swallowed a child. Oh God, another shouted. I look young, but I feel cursed. But Amanda? Amanda was calm. When asked why she did it, she said nothing. The court trial began. The courtroom was full. Reporters, angry mothers, policemen, even pastors came. Amanda walked in with handcuffs, wearing a prison gown. People gasped, but she didn't look down. She walked like a queen. The judge read her crimes. Theft of infants, human experimentation, illegal drug production, murder. Amanda pleaded guilty. I'm not proud, she said. The world wanted magic. I gave them magic. The judge slammed the gavel. Amanda, you were sentenced to life in prison. No parole. The next day, her pharmacy was burned by angry crowds. People looted it. The golden jars were shattered, the white floor stained, but nothing could erase the memory.